So we're recording, and this is a certification of a new practitioner, Angie Ramos. Congratulations, you've been doing a wonderful process. And I thought we would share just a few words with somebody who is in the middle of the process or just about to start or almost giving up because it seems to be a little bit too much, but it really isn't. So tell me, if you would, you already summarized with me, most of the stuff, but if you were to repeat, what would you like to have heard in the beginning when you started out this certification track?
I guess it's just not the cases, because sometimes we look at just the number, like we need to fill out 30 cases and that's it. So in my mind, it was just like, okay, let's go get these 30 things, get the process, and that's it. But it's really more about learning how to use Havening organically, like just learn how to do it naturally. Like whenever you're talking with someone, then just, okay, then I'm gonna use this, but it has to come like without thinking about it, like you just told me, like it really has to be without planning, without anything. Just allow yourself to be in the moment and help the person to let go of those emotions. And for that to happen, I think that we need to practice it, like with different people, with different cases. And well, yeah, it's gonna take some time, but it allows us also to know ourselves, how we can help the client with this tool. It's just not the tool, it's us using this tool to help other people. So I really feel like these 30 cases is just our own process of owning the tool.
Yeah. And it's getting it into the limbic system. I don't know, the place where we don't need to think where we're doing it, because we've done it so many times. And what you said was also, it's a lot of cases and you're trying to reflect on them. And, after 10 years starting going, oh, I'm not sure what I'm learning now. But then you start realizing that it's the number of sessions, it's the sheer number of actually doing and doing and doing is more interesting than maybe picking apart each case and trying to find out what exactly could have been different.
Absolutely. It's just analyzing the whole process. Like in the beginning, how I thought about Haven, and it was just a little bit of a tool that could help you with any specific emotion. And right now it's part of my whole process, like I don't even think about it. Okay, right now I'm gonna use it, or in the end of my session. But I just use it organically, and it's just this process of growing with it.
Yeah, and also you are using. I mean, you were a hypnotherapist before you started working with this, so you have added it on, and sometimes you do havening sessions, sometimes you do hypno, but most of the time you combine them. And you said that you start with the havening.
Yes, I usually start with the havening because that's when the people come to me and explain to me what they want, how they are feeling. And when we are exploring that history, if you want, then I get to use Havening just at that time. Like in the beginning, I tell them, okay, I might interrupt you while you're speaking. It's just part of the process. Let's go with it. And yeah, at that very moment, they can feel the difference, like when they are telling me, okay, I've been anxious all my life and I don't know how to react or something. Okay, let's go. How do you feel? How does your body feel? And then at that very moment, we are working, and it's just, for them is just like, oh wow, it's just so it's magical, because you get the result right at this very moment, not at the end of the session.
No, exactly. And also you said that as for you, you said it was a long process. So at some point you were asking yourself if you were going to pull through with it. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
I think that goes for everybody. That was the same for me. So don't worry about it. But tell me, we talked about this. So what was the turning point for you that enabled you to go, yes?
Well, I think I was still using it, right? So it's just a matter of completing the process, because I realized that Havening really worked and it was really helping my clients. So for me, it was just, okay, let's just document this. I'm even using it, so let's go with it and finish the process. So.
And you mentioned that we had a mentoring session somewhere in the middle, right?
Yes.
And in this session, basically you were reminded about safety, weren't you?
I was, but not as I should, like sometimes I forget stuff because I am trying to include so many things into my sessions because I'm still learning that I tend to forget what I saw, for example, in our training. So when you gave me that feedback, it's sort of like, hey, I haven't been using clean language. And even though I try to stay clean and use their words, there's something always like from us, right? So I'm more mindful right now about clean language, and also using clean language during our havening. That it's an amazing tool too. So, and I've already had it. So I just tend to forget that I had it there. So with that feedback, it made me realize that yes, I have to be mindful of how I feel too. If I'm feeling triggered, why? And this is not about me. This is about the client. So just being mindful about that stuff too.
That's kind of what I call clean language, like the safety belt that you put on, because if you stick to the clean approach on language, you will be safe and you won't trigger. Yes. But also the clean language is 100% about the client. It's definitely, it's about not being about you. That's what it's about. So it's just turning a mirror back to the client so that you can safely guide them wherever they want to go. So I also, I'm thinking about it now. I also think it actually starts the induction process if you're going to go on into hypnosis, because they're already, inside themselves looking at stuff and being safe, creating that safe space. And it works even, absolutely. I mean, it's not necessary to go into hypnosis, but you were also, I'm mentioning this because for those who have hypnosis or are curious about it, you were also using hypnotic language, at least, to emphasize outcome havening so that you could get a stronger visualization of an outcome.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I do the same thing. I mean, anything that you need to visualize, whether it's a role or outcome or even affirmational or affirmation, all of it can be emphasized by just not having a little knowledge about the way language works when you don't want people to get out of their experience, just keeping them in it.
Yeah, for me, it's, well, the first session is a little bit larger because I tend to explain what hypnosis is. But in the second or third session, is just goes from havening to hypnosis, like all the way through.
And your havening part, it's like between 10 and 30 minutes, more or less.
Yes.
And it's no problem to keep it short. Do you start havening immediately when you talk, or do you wait until they get an emotional reaction?
I wait until they get an emotional, a reaction, because what I want to do first is just to connect with them, right? Like I want them to feel safe, to be open about how they feel, and that helps me. And then when I interrupt them, then I explain a little bit about havening. I don't want to get too technical because I tend to get too technical. So it's just all about you at the beginning, and then while we are havening, I just kind of explain what's happening, and then we go into whatever havening I'm
using. Find that to be an excellent distraction. You notice that the client is having this slight emotional reaction, or they're saying that there's something really big they want to talk about. I would start havening immediately there, because you don't know when they will open the door to that emotion. But in either way, once you start just explaining what's going on, will catch their interest and take their mind away from whatever that is for a while. So you're actually deepening some kind of rapport and credibility about what's going on.
Yeah, well, for me, havening is just this rapport building exercise that I take during my first part of the sessions. But sometimes I do use havening by the end of the session. Sometimes when I start directly in hypnosis, and then they tell me, okay, but I kind of feel this, or you know what, I wanted to explore some other stuff, then okay, let's work on that, because it wasn't the goal of the session, but in the end we had some time, then we can use it for something else.
Yeah, because it's fast. I
Exactly.
mean, you can do a 5-minute session with Havening and it works.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Okay, any other advice to somebody out there who is now going, I'm in the middle, or I just did 10, or I'm not, is it really worth it? Angie, tell me.
It's really worth it. It's really worth it. I mean, even for ourselves, like now I tend to have a 5-minute practice every day, just Havening. And for ourselves, it's great. Before my sessions, I use Havening just to be grounded. And for the clients, when they come back and they tell me, hey, I'm not getting triggered anymore by this situation, or I don't feel that emotion, or I'm not getting that anxious, and just because we did some Havening, it's amazing. So just go for it. It's totally worth it.
I say the same thing. I mean, I wasn't used to a certification process that long when I started with Havening. So, but I found it a challenge, and I found it interesting to find out, like you were saying, what will happen. I will know intellectually something after 1, 2, or 3 sessions, but what will I know once I've done 30? And not to spend too much time on it, rather do short sessions and get them done and report them in the system, and write in all the stuff, get the videos. And I think it's probably good to get feedback on a video in the middle and a video later, because that way you get spread out. Yes. Instead of doing 2 at the end. So that would be my advice as well to anybody.
Yeah, that would be better, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like you said, you cannot know in the end what are you going to know, to feel, how you are going to embody this until you reach the end of the 30 cases.
And now you're there at the end of the 30 cases and the science and the assessment and the everything. You're done. You're there. Yay! You have no driver's license. You're a practitioner.
Yoo-hoo! Yes. Yeah. And it feels so good.
It's been such a pleasure. I'm so happy that we could do this. So, and thanks for sharing this, because this is also worth a lot for people. At least I would have loved to see something like this when I started, just to know what's waiting for me at the other end, feeling more safe, feeling more secure, knowing what I'm doing, having experience. And that's kind of nice, because it's people we're working with, and also knowing how to be safe, because that's
very important. Yeah.
And also congratulations for keeping your playfulness with the client. And like you said, making it a conversation. I mean, that makes all the difference,
Yeah.
Go.
Thank you.
And whoever's listening, just do what she did. Just keep going. And,
keep going.
It really feels great once you're there. And that's just the beginning. Then it becomes even more fun.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for now. Look out for the post in Facebook.
Yay.
Take care. Stay in touch. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Ulf.
You're so welcome.
It's been great. And later on, I will contact you, because I want you to help me with something personally.
Absolutely.
So
anytime.